All right, are we ready?
Yes.
Maya? Okay.
I'm here.
In five. Okay. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Look at you. You made it to another episode of We Did That Shit podcast, where we talk about who did some shit, what we learned from shit, and how we got through some shit.
I'm Maya.
And I'm Bibbi. Podcast family, we appreciate you, and we hope your week was the shit. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. If you enjoy our company, please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform. We're on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at We Did That Shit. Hey, Maya.
What's up?
How you been, boo?
You got on my nerves before we started this, and then I'm trying to get myself together because once somebody gets on my nerves, it's so hard for me to get back on the other side of when you didn't get on my nerves.
Get over it. so I'm happy to have you back anyway.
Oh, I'm happy to be back.
But I knew you were still mad. That's why I was looking at you.
I'm not mad. I just said you got on my nerves. It's the difference between you getting on my nerves and me being mad. I'm not mad, but once my nerves is turned on, it's hard for me to turn them off.
Woo. Well, how was your week?
My week was...
Except for the last hour.
Yes. Let me take a deep breath.
Podcast family, for those of you that don't know, Maya and I rarely agree on anything.
Right. Exactly. And it's not even about disagreeing, because the thing is that you can agree to disagree, but like you was hollering and shit, and like what was you hollering for?
You was hollering.
First of all, I was not hollering at all.
You were hollering.
No, I wasn't. When I'm hollering,
people don't hear your point. I heard your point, and you got loud. Hollering, you got loud, and I got
hollering. No. When I'm hollering, you know I'm hollering. You've known me 40 years. You know when I'm hollering. I wasn't hollering. I was just listening to you, looking at you like you was crazy because you was hollering. Crazy.
And I wasn't hollering. If you wasn't hollering, I wasn't.
It must really be hot.
It is hot in here, but I refuse to turn on the air conditioner.
Yeah, but anyway, let me take a deep breath. Since I've been gone, I have had a great week and a not so great week.
What's wrong?
I got into a car accident.
Oh yeah. Vacation. Look, I didn't even go on a vacation. I forgot about that. I know.
Right. I mean, I got into a car accident. I don't have my car right now. My car is being fixed, but thankfully,
you're fine.
God blessed us and we walked away from the car accident. Yes. But the point is that was the not so good part of the week. And the day that I got into the car accident, I just knew that day was going to be a shit show.
Really?
And it was the day that Jesus rose again. And that was the bad part, because I should have been happy that day. No, that day started out wrong and it ended up wrong. The whole day was just nonsense.
Was it?
Yeah, didn't I tell you what happened? When my brother's plumbing went in his house.
Oh yeah. And then
it was just one thing after the next. It was just one thing after the next. And we got together, we had dinner as a family. That was great. But I couldn't even enjoy that because I was on edge about all of the other bull crap that happened. As soon as we left dinner from having a semi good time, boom, I get into the accident. And it was just like one more thing that I just didn't need. You know what I'm saying? But again, we walked away. And so... Yes. You know, the car is being fixed, and I'm trying to think positive.
Well, you went on vacation right after that, and thank God the car is replaceable. You are not.
Yeah, well, and vacation was wonderful. Mm-hmm. We had a ball. When I
Look like
tell
it.
you a ball, I mean a ball. It was a lot of fun.
Them.
It was a lot of them. It was, first of all, it was a lot of them. There was, we went down for the New Orleans Jazz Festival. And when
Mhm.
I think Jazz Festival, I think
Like Capitol Grill, the Capitol.
like
What is it
the
called?
Capitol Jazz Fest,
Yeah.
it's mostly us. It's a good
Mhm.
time. It's like a family barbecue. That's what I'm thinking it's going to be. Like New
Mhm.
Orleans Jazz,
Right.
it's going to be like Essence, but
Mhm.
outside. It wasn't. It was
Mm.
not. And then I saw our friend Dwayne.
Hey,
Shout out.
Dwayne.
I was so happy to see Dwayne because we didn't get to see him the last time we were in New Orleans.
Right.
So that really made the trip. That was like the icing on the cake of the trip. And so I was like, I didn't know it was going to be so many other people at the jazz festival. And he was like, what you mean you ain't know? Look at the headliners. And I was like,
Uh,
oh, oh. Now that makes sense because the day that we went, the headliner was Katy Perry. I
mhm.
don't know any Katy Perry songs, so I didn't see her. I saw Logic. I ain't know none of his songs either, but he was a rapper. I could kind of
Mhm.
get into it more. But it was a good ass time. New Orleans is just a fun city.
It is.
It's a
It is.
fun city, and I cannot wait to go back in July.
Mm.
Even though,
I knew you was going.
even though
We making it back. I don't know how, but we going back.
I
Oh my
feel like
goodness.
I am about to write, I'm
Essence
about to be
letter.
like a white woman and write a letter to these airlines,
Yeah.
to these hotels, and to Essence Music Festival.
It's ridiculous. And I think because it mostly because we have gone so many years in a row and we've each year seen the increase. And your flight is way cheaper than mine.
No,
Mine is
I didn't
hurt.
get that flight. I didn't get that flight.
It's still way cheaper than mine.
No, I didn't tell you how much the flight was. And this flight is by far the most that I've ever spent. And this is how much I enjoy going to Essence and how much I'm not staying home for the 4th of
Right.
July.
Because we already we know that we're not staying.
Exactly. So like
Right.
if I don't go to Essence, we're going somewhere.
Right.
Now we better pick an island to go to or something. But that's how much I don't want to stay home on the 4th of July. That I paid the amount of money that I paid to go with that ticket because that shit was crazy.
And I can almost guarantee you I paid more than that. And have been. My flights are, I'm telling you, coming from here, my flights are always more expensive than yours. But it's ridiculous. The
And
last
it's
few
crazy
years it's
because
gotten
it's like,
ridiculous.
yeah, I was gonna say, and it's crazy because it's like you could go to New Orleans on freaking the next week and you'll pay $200 for the flight. You go
Hmm.
the week of Essence and you pay $700 for the flight. That's the difference. And that's why I'm writing this letter because what are we doing?
Hmm. And the flight that I usually take is sold out.
Yeah.
Devastating. Devastating. I don't even know what to do.
I will say that to wrap this up, I did get a better situation though, because usually I got to go to DC to
Hmm.
take my flight. So, and I pay so much money for parking. It's like another like $100 and some dollars for me to park. So
Hmm.
I'm taking a flight out of the airport that's like right next to the house. So
So
that
you could
works out.
Uber.
Yeah, I can Uber right up there and then come right home. And I got a direct flight both ways. So,
Oh man.
I got a good situation, even though I paid more for the flight. I'll take it.
You because I have a layover both ways, even though it's not a long layover. I have a layover both ways, which I usually don't. And I know I paid more money than you.
Well, look,
Exactly.
if Essence is going to be like the weekend that I just had in New Orleans,
It's worth it.
it's gonna be
First of
worth it
all, it's
because let
yeah.
me tell you, I met a cowboy
Hmm.
while I was in New Orleans.
How do you save a horse?
I don't know.
Ride a cowboy.
Oh, ride a
Yeah,
cowboy.
save a horse. Ride a cowboy.
I know. That was the first time I ever met a cowboy, and especially a black cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking like, I'm coming to visit you. Now, I might not like. We probably can't make it in life because you probably want to just live the cowboy lifestyle, and that's not really my lifestyle. I don't think I'm gonna turn into a cowboy.
What if he could have ranch hands to do all that stuff?
Well, where are we going to live at?
On a big ranch. They be having big ranch houses. They're huge.
I don't want
Nice.
to. It's not
To
about the
help.
size of the house.
It's to
It's not
help.
about you. It's not about that. I don't want to live on a ranch.
Uh,
I don't want to come outside and it be like cows and horses, and that's not. I don't want to do that.
the cows and horses be like over there.
I don't want to come outside. I'm irked by the birds chirping outside my window. They loud as hell.
Well, it won't be no birds on the ranch because they'll get eaten up.
Yeah, but it's going to be animals.
But they'll be over there.
And while animals comes bugs, and bugs comes nuisance. Nuisance comes me being annoyed, like I was annoyed when we started this podcast. I don't need that in my life every day. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. But that cowboy,
I sure did miss you, Maya.
that cowboy was something. I might have to, I don't know. Might turn into a country girl.
Hey, save a horse.
No,
I'm just saying.
it was a good time though. And even though you got on my nerves, that's going to be recurring through this podcast. I
Clearly.
missed you too.
Oh,
You did a good job. You did a good job. I really enjoyed the episode on last week. Thank you so much. This is when it pays to have a good co-host because you could take time off and the other person could just hold it down.
Yeah, it was rough.
Why?
Because I just don't like being by myself.
You feel like you talking to yourself?
I feel like, no, I just feel like this is what we do. It's our thing. And so if you ain't there, it ain't our thing. Like,
well, what did you record for?
Because we took a break the week before. So I was like, that was good enough. We need to, put something out there. I mean, it worked out, but I just, it doesn't feel weird or anything like that. It just feels like, I think this is just something that we do together. So I like us doing it together. That's just what it is.
Well, you did good by yourself. Thanks a million. And thank you, podcast family, sticking it out with us the week before when we didn't put out a new episode. We needed a mental break, honey. Let me tell you, to come on here and talk and, it takes a lot sometimes. And it's just a lot going on in the family. And you just needed to deal with some shit. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But how was your week since I was gone? How was your week?
Well, not as fun as yours. I did my laundry. I found a nickel. And I got real excited too. Like, oh, is that a quarter? Oh, it's a nickel. But okay, I'll take it. I'm just saying. It's progress. I feel good.
Oh, good.
And I think that is really what matters. And even when I'm not feeling good, like last week, I didn't talk about my job at all. This week, I'm not talking about my job at all. Same shit, different me. I'm just, moving on. The semester's finally coming to a close. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, as long as I have progress, that is good.
Okay.
Progress is what I like, and I have progress, so I am good with that. But I am glad you're back.
I'm glad to be back. I should have recorded some stuff when I was in New Orleans. I'm not I put out some Instagram stories and stuff like that just to show people the good time I was having. But it was a lot of content in New Orleans.
You should have took pictures of it.
I did.
Video or something.
Right.
Yes.
I realized this when I was in New Orleans too, that we have a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Like it took you to go to New Orleans to realize we have a podcast. No, but I realized I'm not quick with the phone, right? Because you know how I am. I like to live in the moment. So right. I don't like to go away and be on my phone, have my phone out. I don't like that. That kind of shit irks me. So I'm not quick with the phone in my hand, just like, oh, let me record this. This is content. Or, oh, this would be good for the show. Right. Because I don't be wanting to have my phone in my hand like that.
Right. But you are and you've always been that way. We always, first of all, you have your camera and the things that are captured in that camera that we never see again. All those years and years and years of family photos, but that's neither here nor there. So
If I have them, you'll always know where they are. But go ahead.
so you always have your camera out, you take the pictures, and it's so funny because I was just thinking about this for the last couple days. Um, but you've never been one to like, oh, let's put, post on social media while we're away and all that kind of stuff. You've never done that, which I think is cool. However, even content or no content, I be like, Maya, we have a podcast. Like, you be talking to mad people and you never bring up the podcast. Like,
I
hey,
know.
like never.
I know.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like,
I'm like, did you tell them about the podcast? You were like, oh yeah,
oh,
man.
man. That's what I'm saying. But see, this right here, what we're talking about is the disconnect of us growing up in the time that we grew up in the time as opposed to now, right? So when we grew up, it wasn't social media. So you didn't have, or we didn't have podcasts, we didn't have social media. I mean, you had radio shows, but you had to like apply to be on the radio. It wasn't just like
Right.
start something, right? And so it's not a thought process
It's
because
But it is for me, even though I don't always be on social media like that, but I always bring up the podcast to people.
Yeah.
Always.
I'm gonna do better.
Okay.
I'm going to do better because I mean I got us some subscribers while I was in New Orleans,
Oh,
but
go ahead,
yes, because I was talking about the podcast.
girl.
But I
Okay.
mean, I could have been talking to so many more people. I'm gonna make a mental note of that. But yeah.
I'm not saying go out of your way. I'm just saying I have
No, but I almost have to.
full-fledged conversations with people and the podcast never comes up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I almost have to like just really go out of my way. I have to. I have to keep that in mind. Do a better job at promoting. Well, if you're listening to me right now, thank you. And I will do better at getting us more people to the podcast, because I will spark up a conversation with a person and just
Never
yeah.
mentioned that.
Right.
Speaking of sparking up a conversation, so I ran into somebody who clearly knows me, and this is why you'll know. When I saw them, I was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? How you been?" And they was like, "In 5, 4, 3." And I started laughing. I was like, "Oh, thanks for your support, whatever." And then he was like, "Would you be having a countdown so you can hurry up and put some clothes on before it come on?" And I was like,
yes. Yes. Nobody wants
like,
to see all of that.
You know me. Yes, because I'm always naked. And I'm like, oh, let me put something on. I just did this when you was like, oh, we going to call. I was like, all right, let me put something on. But I cracked up laughing like,
Yeah, that's funny.
You get used to it, though.
Who gets used to it?
You should. I mean, I've been the same forever.
Yes, but we have a podcast now. I don't want to see that. It's a difference when I'm just coming over your house. You could do what you want in your house, but come on, work with me. But anyway, since I've been going, mad shit's been happening. Last week you were so positive about all your who did some shit. It was just like on point. And I wanted to point out this before we continue. You made it seem like last week that I only want to talk about the negative shit, because you was like, oh, Maya ain't here and I could talk about all my positivity. Like, I just be like, that's too positive, let's talk about this. No, we just talk about the things that's going on in the world, and a lot of the things that's going on in the world is negative, but don't make it seem like I'm the negative Nancy.
Well, that was not my intention. I was rolling with the "You Too Nice" theme. I was rolling with that because that was the last thing we talked about. I'm too nice. So this is what nicey nice people do. That's what I was rolling with. Not that you're the one that brings up all the negativity. Shit do be happening. I mean, we can't control it.
Well, speaking of shit that's happening, we wanted to say rest in peace to director John Singleton. John Singleton died on April 29th. He was 51 years young. It was reported earlier in the week that he had been checked into the hospital because he had a stroke. And, went from, he's in the hospital, he had a mild stroke, to him being in intensive care, to him being in a medically induced coma, to him being on life support and ultimately passing away. I was reading something and it was talking about how John Singleton had took himself to the hospital because he was saying that he had pain in his leg. And he, checked himself into the hospital, and then ultimately they said that he had a stroke. And it was just it just goes to show how fast things happen when you speak about medical issues in general, but specifically strokes. You know how a person could just be sitting in front of you and like they said, had pain in his leg, say, oh, it's not feeling really too good. I think I need to go to the hospital. And for people that don't know, and you can give us a little bit more information as our resident nurse here, but with strokes, it's very important to act fast.
Very important.
Because they do have medicine that, if a person shows sign of a stroke that they could give them, but they have to get it within a certain time period. They have to.
You better go.
I do know something.
You better go, girl.
Some things. But they have to give it. They have to administer the medicine in a certain time period, and if it's out of that time period, then they can no longer get it. And so I don't know, I didn't read that part if John Singleton was out of that time period where he was able to get the medicine. And the medicine does what? It can reverse the stroke, right?
It doesn't reverse the stroke. The medicine is called TPA, and it's clot busters.
Okay.
It's a real, very, 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 very strong blood thinner. And you have to stay in the hospital while you get it for, I think, a day until like 24 hours after the treatment, because your blood is so thin, any kind of stick you may bleed out. But it's a clot buster. It's what it is. But you have to get it within I think it's 72 hours of onset of the stroke. Yes. And it's not just that John Singleton was at that age. 51 is very, very young. But that is the age, especially for African American men, that 40 to 55 year age range, when you're hustling and bustling in your career and you're moving and shaking and you're like, you're fighting through every little thing and, I don't need to go to the doctor. And what we do is we miss checkups. Yeah. Checkups and physicals are important because he had to have had high blood pressure. He had to. He's 51 and he died. So he's had to have had high blood pressure, and we just don't. And high blood pressure is considered the silent killer because we don't feel high blood pressure until our heart starts to give out. You know what I mean? To me, like, more important than the stroke, because just like he drove himself to the hospital, when it gets to that point, you feel something. So hopefully you can get yourself somewhere. You can call 911. Somebody's around you or something. But if I could stress anything, it is that go get your annual physical. And once you turn 40, you need to go to the doctor every 6 months. Once for your annual physical, and then the second time in 6 months for a wellness check. Especially if you're African American, blood pressure is called the silent killer, and this is exactly why. It's tragic. It's a shame.
It is. And so John Singleton, for people who may not know, he was No, well, some people don't know. And if they don't know, they may know him for certain things, because in reading up on him when he passed away, John Singleton directed a lot of movies and was influential in a lot of things that people might not even have realized, because I didn't even know that John Singleton directed Rosewood.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that. I don't even know who I thought directed Rosewood, but I didn't know he directed Rosewood. But he was a director. He directed movies such as like Boys in the Hood, Higher Learning, like I said, Rosewood.
He wrote Boys in the Hood. That was his movie. 24 years old when it got picked up, 1991.
He was the youngest African American person to be nominated for an Oscar at 24 years old when he made Boys in the Hood. I mean, he was instrumental in so many people's career, like Taraji P. Henson. He gave Ice Cube in Boys in the Hood his first acting role. And
Doughboy.
taught him what it was to be a director and a
Mhm.
writer. And now look at what Ice
Look
Cube
at
has
Doughboy now.
accomplished,
Go ahead, Doughboy.
Um, you never really, I mean, we have, because we're in the community, but how much of an impact Boys in the Hood really had on,
Relatable. That's why.
right.
Yes.
And it was his true story of
Right.
growing up in his South Central neighborhood. But it just spoke to hoods everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Everybody could relate to it. And so it's really an iconic film. And he is an iconic director. He'll
Yeah.
be sorely missed. I mean, known for his works here lately. He did Snowfall. The show
Oh,
Snowfall on FX. Yeah, he created and directed that. And that was like critically acclaimed show. So if you haven't checked that out. But yeah, rest in peace. I I hear that his family is kind of like fighting over his estate,
that
daughter
is
and his
so
mother.
that's so sad. That's
I
so
hate
sad.
that.
Yeah.
I hate that when people die, the nastiness comes out in people.
Right. Well,
It's
first
like,
of all, the first thing we have to do is take care of our business.
right,
At 24, he had a legacy to protect in his death. Because I mean, God, he could have got hit by a bus at 26. Anything could have happened. So at 24, when he was nominated and he was considered successful, we have to start protecting our legacy. So there should have been something then, because he was, who he was married to?
mm,
Nettie. Nettie from The Color Purple. That's who he has the children. He has two children with her. You
what?
know, me and you, us never part, my key, da, da. Nothing but death can keep me
Yeah,
from
I
you.
mean, I know who
Yeah,
Nettie is, but I
yeah,
didn't know he was married to her.
yeah. He was married to Nettie. They have two children. The two oldest children are with Nettie. And
Oh, he was married to her from 1996 to 1997.
right, but they weren't married long, but they were together longer than
Okay.
that, whatever.
Okay.
And so it's important to protect. I mean, I have a coffee table, but Adasia knows exactly what to do with the coffee table in the
Right.
event of my early demise. You know what I mean? you, you have to get these things in order. So there's no fighting. And
Right.
if there is fighting, this will settle it. You could be mad, but this is what he wants.
Right.
And so we have to learn to get our affairs, have our affairs in order. It's not like we make a reservation for death. Like,
Mm.
after I work this job and go here, then no, it doesn't work that way. So you need to protect what you have. Very important, because it's very, very, very sad to hear of children and spouses and ex-spouses and people fighting over, and you can't even grieve.
That's what I was gonna say. It
Yeah.
all boils down to money, and you can't even grieve your loved ones. It's like, and people can have $5 or $5 million, and people will surely fight over it. It's like,
Look,
I've never seen nothing like it. Then God, when something happens to my mother, I bet not a soul come about the woodworks and say a goddamn thing to me.
let me
But
tell you something. People was taking my mom's clothes. I always liked this one.
yeah, it's like,
Always. I was like, and I didn't have time for it. Like, I would have probably like killed somebody for real if
hmm,
I would even open
right,
my mouth. So I just was like, whatever. But then when it settles, you get angry.
yeah,
But I was ready to go through it. It
hmm,
wasn't there. You know what I mean?
hmm.
Yeah.
And the audacity of people to think that it's okay to do it. And
Yes.
that's what
That's
it
what
is.
it is.
But
Yeah.
it like you said, it's get your, this shows, like we said, he was 51 years young. It's very young to pass away. Things like this just show you that not only to take care of your affairs, but also to take care of your health. When you feel something, say something, get it checked out. Don't wait. Death is surely not avoidable, but we can take measures to prolong it a little bit, I think.
Even if you don't feel anything, if you are 40 and up, you need to go to the doctor at least annually, preferably every 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go just for a physical and then a wellness check. If you're 40 and above, and especially if you're African American. Preston,
I'm going to just say this. It is a blessing to be Black, but Lord knows we got a lot going on?
Mhm.
Every time I hear something, it's like, well, you 17 times more risk if you're African American, Damn, I can't the sneeze, I can't get rid of. Well, if you're African American, the sneeze gets harder. It's like, God damn.
It's funny because I'm working on a program to really help. I'm very committed to communities of color, and just whenever I can find a new way to bring information to people, I'm just really excited about it. So a colleague and I were working on something to have an outdoor venue and talking about health in a more fun way.
Mm.
But you're absolutely right. A lot you hear the statistics all the time. You're 10 times more likely, you're
I mean,
15 times more likely, you're 50% more likely, all this kind of stuff. But a lot of that is based on our culture. It's not, it's not just because, it's we're black, because it's Caucasian people have these issues as well, but they tend to go to the doctor more.
well, they
They tend
tend
to
to
they
have
take
more.
medicine.
But they
They're
tend to have more access to doctors. They tend to have more insurance. They tend to have more funds that
exactly,
gets them to the doctors. And it's
exactly,
by no chance that it was set up in the way that
exactly,
it's set up
exactly,
so that we don't have access and that we
exactly.
don't have insurance and that we don't have the funds to go get help. I mean, those things are true. And I this is something we agree on. I agree with you where it's like it is based off of our culture, right? We
Right,
think about the foods we eat,
right.
soul food, but look at the reasons why we eat those
Because that's
foods.
we had to. That's what I'm saying. It's
Exactly.
ingrained. It's ingrained in our culture.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And then we have people. So and I'm saying that you're 100% correct in the access. The access is different. So when we look at these numbers, and sometimes what researchers do, they separate it. So for it's one thing for the people not to have access, but for the people who have access, John Singleton had access.
Yeah. But I
You
mean, we
understand what
don't
I'm saying?
know if
There's still a
John
culture.
Singleton,
There's
right.
still a culture attached, is what I'm, what I mean? For
Mhm.
even for the people who have access, there's a culture attached. There's a culture in the way we eat. There's a culture in how we feel about medical professionals. There's a
Mhm.
culture in how we don't take off of work to go to the doctor. There's a culture how we, it's a lot ingrained in our behaviors.
Mhm.
So, all you can do is get the information out there. I used to be annoyed with saying the same thing over and over and over and over until I learned that people don't get it until they heard it on the 45th time or the 50th time,
Mhm.
or and then you have somebody who's heard it for the 100th time, and then with a person who's never heard it before, so
Mhm.
they're just starting. So sometimes, because even I work in HIV, and sometimes I was just getting tired of hearing that message. But you know what? Clearly, the message is not being heard because the disease is 100% preventable, and still 40,000 people every year are being infected.
Mhm.
So I'll have to keep talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
We should keep talking about this. This
you
is
have to.
this these things are important. Getting checked are important. But let's move on. I wanted to talk about something that's just been on my mind. I said I got into the accident.
Hmm.
After I got into the accident, like literally when the accident happened, right? I was with my mom.
Right. So that's your ace boom. That was the
So
first
that was
person
like,
that you
oh,
could
I had to
call,
call her.
and to
She was
call
there,
her.
right?
Right.
My niece was in the car with us. So of course,
The ace
automatically I
boom.
called my brother,
Hmm.
right? That would be the next person I would call. Next person I called was you.
Hmm. I love you too, boo.
I guess you're not getting on my nerves so much right now. I had nobody else besides family, that I wanted to call to say, oh my God, let me tell you what happened. I was in an accident, right?
Hmm.
But now that I'm back from New Orleans and my phone is ringing and people like, hey, what's up? I'm talking about men, you
Yes.
know. It's like, hey, what you been up to? And I'm like, nothing, was in a car accident, or whatever. It's like, oh, why you ain't call me? Yeah.
Hmm?
I mean, I just didn't think
Yeah.
of it. It's like I didn't think of you enough to call me, and then I to call you. I just didn't.
Right.
I didn't think that you wasn't on my mind. It wasn't like I felt like you was going to drop everything and run.
Right.
So it's like,
Because that's why people call you. You called a
Yeah, because I
support.
knew your ass was going to come.
Exactly.
So that's why I called you. I knew my brother was going to come, so that's why I called him. It's like,
Right.
and if the next person I would have called was a tow truck if I had to, if my car wasn't drivable, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know where you fit in between brother, I was with my mom, Bibbi, tow truck. I didn't know where you fit in. So then I was getting cussed out because I wasn't thinking enough of people to call them to say I was in an accident. And I'm thinking, like, do you care that I was in an accident, or do you care that I didn't call you to tell you I was in a damn accident? And that just got me to thinking, ninjas are crazy
as hell. And they out here.
I had so many instances this week of ninjas being crazy.
Ninjas is crazy. They really on one this spring. I mean, the pollen then went up and the crazy then went off. I don't know. Yes. Like, what? Ninjas are in full relationships in their head. They don't do nothing, don't call. I don't know why you think I am so interested in your kid's prom. You know what I mean? All it, what? Like, what do you want me to say? I don't know. Yo, they out of control.
No, they really are. And
they
the
really
thing
are.
is this. You made a point. Ninjas think they in full-fledged relationship.
They do.
You know that's happening to me right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's two people who feel like in their mind that they're in full-fledged relationships with me. And I'm like,
what's your name again?
Right. When I think about a person that I'm in a relationship with, if I would call you and say, hey, I was in a car accident. Mm-hmm. If I think about somebody that I'm in a relationship with, after I tell you I was in a car accident, I think that you would call me to check on me. Hey, you all right? Everything okay with the car? Did y'all get hurt? Did you do anything? If you're not doing that, you can't think you in no full-fledged.
First of all, if you think you in a relationship, like, why am I not talking to you every day? Why is it a week later and you just find it out I have a car accident? Like, what?
And why in that week, when you do find out that I have a car accident, I don't talk to you. And then when I do talk to you, like, when I'm going to see you. Motherfucker, I don't even have a car. And I didn't mean to cuss like that. But I'm just saying, I don't even have a car. When did you think that you was going to see me?
Yes. And you still talk about when I'm going to see you. Okay. I got nothing.
When are you going to see me? Probably never.
Because why? And I told you this, and you were like, you need to go on a date. And I don't feel like dating. I just don't feel like dating because I don't feel like getting to know anybody. I don't feel like listening to the hoopla, ha ha. I don't feel like, I'm not interested in your dreams. I just don't have it right now to go through this little thing, because dudes just be creating stuff in their head.
Right, but I don't want things like this or like, even little things that I'm telling you, like, yo, this man thinks he's in a full-fledged relationship with me, but has not called to say, are you alive after your accident? Is everything okay? My mother had surgery. I failed to mention that. And when I was talking about a week, my mother had surgery and everything came out great from the surgery. She's okay. However, my mother had surgery. If you aren't calling to say, hey, did your mom make it out of surgery? Your mom alive? Y'all all right after? Like, the 70 million things that I have going on. I am confused on why you even still calling my damn phone.
And you know how you are. Anybody who knows you knows how you are about your mom.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
Like, it's not like I had surgery and they be like, how's bed or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's your mom. Anybody who knows you knows how you are about your mom.
Right. And if you know me enough to feel like you might be in a relationship with me in your mind, then you know how I am with my mother. And it's no bigger turn off to me than a person who is not concerned with what I'm concerned about when it comes down to my mother. Now, are you going to be like me with my mom? No, and I don't expect you to. However, if you don't even call to say, did your mom make it out of surgery? You can't possibly think that you in a friendship with me, let alone a relationship with me. I don't have a friend in my life, and I got a lot of damn friends. I don't have a friend in my life who knows that my mom didn't have surgery and hasn't called to say, yo, your mom good from the surgery? Y'all need anything? And you think you in a relationship with me, like we together, like we're a mate, like we're a couple, like we are living happily ever after, like we gonna be laying down later tonight, like we gonna eat dinner on Sunday, like we getting the wine glasses and toasting and saying, I missed you, babe. Mwah. Like we doing all of that. That's the type of relationship you think that we in. And you have not said,
yeah, like no.
well, he has said it, but he didn't say it when he should have said it. So to me, none of those things are going to happen ever because ninjas are crazy
as hell. And when they do what they want to do, and you tell them that they can't do what they want to do anymore, and then they gonna send you with the, I am who I am.
I'm a be who I'm going to be.
Whatever.
It's no bigger.
Do you, boo?
Right. And it's no bigger. What ninjas need to realize is no bigger turnoff than someone whose ego is so big that it outweighs anything that you have going on as well. Like, I like a confident man. I like a confident asshole, in fact, but you can't have your ego be so out of hand that you feel like you gonna tell me, put your feelings to the side, and it's all about me, and then go and be like sending shit like I am who I am, and you
let
need
me
to
let
get
you
over.
know. Yeah, like let me let you know. Yeah, let me let you know. The Bible says, don't think more highly of yourself than you ought.
The Bible says that?
Absolutely. That's not for me. That's Bible. Better get to read. No, like I was just looking like, oh, okay.
And it all boils down to ninjas are crazy.
Crazy. They crazy. They crazy. Like when they have your number, they act like they don't know you. Oh, hey, how you do? What?
See you somewhere and be like, hey, how you doing? And it's like, oh my God, where you been? I could have been seeing you. You have my number.
Right.
You have my number. You could have called me. We could have set something up.
My phone number has been the same since 1999.
I think mine been the same since definitely early 2000s too.
My phone number has been the same. The cell phone has been the same since 1999.
Ninjas are crazy
as hell. It's really, really, really crazy. And what's really crazy is, and we did the episode and how you said I was too nice or whatever, and I may be a nice person, but when sometimes shit just get on your nerves, like, and when people get on your nerves, they know what they're doing. They know for a fact what they're doing. And they may do it like, oh, she a pushover, she nice, whatever. But when I say, when I push back or say what I want to say, now they looking at me sideways. Like I'm crazy. You know what I mean? Like, well, she got it. Yeah, no, you are crazy. And get out of my face with this crazy mess. Because I am nice and I don't have time for you and this ridiculousness. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. You got a playmate. Go play with them. Especially if you got a playmate. I'm crazy.
Well, I think that I could sit here and tell you many more ninjas are crazy stories. But I mean, all in all, I think that we as women have to know when to get off of the carnival ride of crazy, like you always say, right?
I don't want to ride this. I'm not buying no more tickets to this carnival.
It's over, So when it comes down to ninjas are crazy, maybe it had me to thinking. I had so much craziness going on this week. I was like, well, shit, are you crazy for even putting up with it? Like, you the common denominator in it, sweetie. Maybe your ass is crazy for dealing with it. So.
No, I don't know. I think it goes back to remember we did the podcast, if you can't date, don't date.
Yeah.
And what it is, I really think what this crazy is that ninjas be trying to juggle like a whole lot of things or people at once, and they can't, but they think that they can. And they think that they got it going on, like they got their whole process together, and we looking at them like, get out of here with this. And they just keep throwing like lines out, like keep throwing the lines. And I'm just going to make a public service announcement. Like, I can't speak for all women. I know. And that's why, people say I don't date. No, because I'm not for the goofy. I'm not for nothing goofy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And even if I'm wrong, I'd rather be on the side of caution.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because if it appears goofy, if it sounds goofy, if it looks goofy, it's goofy. And I'm not for no, I am past romper room. I don't have time for it. And that's really what it is. These dudes think that they really doing something, and they're not. But it does work. It's a numbers game. So if you find the right one, you know what I mean, you may be able to reel in the right one. And sometimes it works out, and then sometimes it works out for a little bit because that person could have been bored at the time. Because I know I have talked to a lot of people because I was bored.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I ain't doing nothing. So, yeah.
Well, that's my favorite line. You be like, why are you still talking to him? Like, I ain't doing nothing else.
Yeah, like, So, and then when they get unbored and, got stuff to do or see that there's really no substance or whatever, they move on. But it's a numbers game. But, like, we're not stupid. You know what I mean? We're not stupid. So, run your numbers somewhere else. I got nothing, but I'm telling you, and the testosterone sniffing is just like out of control.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Why is it that now that old saying, that people like, oh, when you get in a relationship, people want you more. It's like when a man knows that another man is around, or doesn't even know, they feel it, they sense it, they sniff it,
great testosterone sniffers.
It's like, here they come out the woodwork.
Here they come.
I was just minding my business, being single, like I am. I start dating, talked about it, a couple of the dates on here, and next thing I know, people was dropping from the damn sky. Right. And I was like, where you come from?
Oh, you. Oh, her. Exactly.
Like, what you been doing? Living my life. It's right. Like something else is going on with you. Nah, nothing else is going on with me. But like you said, the great testosterone sniffers. What is that? What is that? Like, we do know what it is. That's a rhetorical question, but like.
And I think it's certain people too. Like, everybody might not be the one. I know I have I have one main one that's like, and I mean, like, it's nothing. It ain't going to be nothing. It ain't nothing. And before I even know I'm about to run into something. And that's how I know. I'm like,
something must be about to happen to me.
I'm going to meet somebody tomorrow. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because here it is. Like, every single time, like, you don't even want nothing. But that's just how ninjas are. They don't want to be committed. They don't want to do what they have to do, but they don't want nobody else to be around either. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. And I am not having an emotional affair. However, when I was doing the survey of self after that episode, I do see where, a lot of my friends, they don't want me to be with nobody. Literally, like, they don't. And I think 4 off the top of my head. Like, they cool. Now, everybody live their own life. Ain't none of them think about me as long as I ain't with nobody.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Ain't none of them thinking about me as long as I'm not with nobody. But the minute I go on a date or, whatever, I was walking around with my brother. They was like, got a young boy. But I'm like, what the hell you care? Like, what is going on? Yeah, right. That's how they are, though. They don't want nothing, but they surely don't want you to be with nobody else.
Well, ninjas are crazy,
They
and being
are.
crazy, they'll just do anything. And
Right.
I just be laughing and thinking to myself, like, you could testosterone sniff on around here, and you will get the same results that your ass been getting, because juggle ain't no problem for me. So, sniff on. It's cool.
I'm gonna just be real because I don't know what's the current slang. Because in my mind, I'm thinking like you look like a sucker. You know what I
You
mean?
can
In
still
my
say sucker.
oh, you can
It's
say
that
sucker.
ain't the current slang, but that's always going to be the slang because ninjas be looking like suckers.
That's what they look like. They look like a sucker because you out here so worried about me, but you ain't worried about me at all. Get your goof troop ass out of here. Yeah, that's some sucker shit. That's sucker shit, y'all. I'm
It
just saying.
is.
It is. That's exactly what it is. It's sucker shit.
And what's more sucker shit is that they think that you are so
That
engrossed in them
that we're into it.
that
Yeah.
you like, when they act like they care, that you like, oh, he care about
Yeah,
me, and
yeah,
you ain't
yeah.
paying attention to the other stuff. And it's like,
Exactly.
yo, I see through all of that. I had brothers, cousins, uncles, a
Uncles. I,
father,
I got two
friends.
dads.
I
Exactly.
have men in my life. Do you know that I've been around men before? Do you know that I've seen them do the same shit? Like, y'all all read from the same book, and not all men are the same, not all women are the same, but the ninjas that are crazy are all the same.
I'm telling you, I be having my brother in here dying. He be like, what happened to this one, Bib? And he'd be laughing before I could even get the story out. He'd be like, oh, I knew when I seen him. He was just
And when I saw him, he was a sucker.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And like I'll be like, we'll be out and he'll be like, I'm like, why is this guy keep calling me? He was like, you know what it is, babe. They gonna keep hanging around, waiting for their chance. Just keep hanging around, keep hanging around. And I was like, oh, all right,
And
he'll be
that's
all
what
right.
cracks me up about you, because you always be like in particular, you'll be like, I mean, I said that it was this, and it's like, it don't matter what you said. Like, give it time. They ain't calling you now. They'll call, and then they call. It might be six
And I
days
be
later.
shocked
It
every
might be
time. No,
6 months.
no.
And you be like, oh my God, I can't believe Henry called me. And it's like, you can't. I told you
He
Henry's gonna call.
always say
You
that
like,
too.
nah, Henry not gonna call no more. I'm
I
telling you,
told
this
him.
time
I
I
told
told
him. That's
him,
right.
and it's like, nah, Henry won't call again. Like, they always call again. Even when you cuss them out, even when it's like no chance, they always call again. And like I said, it might be 6 days, it might be 6 minutes, or it might be 6 months, but they gonna call again.
Right. I mean, and don't get it twisted. It ain't no love loss. It is what it is. But that doesn't mean that you gonna sit here and accept the sucker shit.
No, because you
Cause
might
I
be
ain't.
on the right day, and I might be crazy with you, and might
Right.
entertain the crazy. So, I
But
mean,
don't just don't act like I don't know what it is. I don't like that. Like I'm not dumb. And I think that's what gets on my nerves more than anything. Like, do this ninja really think I'm dumb? Like, and that's what frustrates me more than anything. So just like you said, I might play the game a little bit, whatever. And it's not even a game because it's to me, it really is no love loss. If I deal with you, then I deal with you on whatever we do. That's what we do. You know what I mean? But if I don't feel like it, and you got to play bait, then I don't feel like it. That's just how I feel.
and you hit the nail on the head. For the person who feels like they're in the relationship with me, I had to tell them, when I feel like it, I'll call. When I don't, when I feel like it, we probably are in a relationship. And when I am not, then we ain't. It sounds crazy, but listen to it again.
Exactly.
That shit sound crazy as hell, but I know what I'm talking about. But anyway, before we get on out of here and wrap this week's episode up of these ninjas being crazy, because we could just go on and on and on. There's so many instances of these ninjas being crazy. You got a personal journal this week?
Oh, personal journal. Oh, wait a minute. Before we get to the personal journal, we talk about crazy. We gotta shout out our boy. What's our husband? Me and Maya sister wives, y'all. Y'all ain't know.
Damn, we gonna say before we start, when we talking about crazy, let's talk about you. But yes, we are sister wives. This has been brought to our attention that we're sister wives, and hey, we accept it. But we want to give a shout out to the Out Crowd podcast, who continuously supports our show, our boys, especially
Jared. Yeah.
Jared.
Hey, Jared.
Jared just continues to share our podcast. He sends us little notes that just say, "Hey, girls, you're doing a good job." And we truly appreciate it. We read everything. We talk about you all the time, Jared. You say that you want to marry both of us. And here's the thing, Jared, because I know you'll be listening. You have to choose, sweetheart. I don't want to be her sister wife because she gets on my nerves sometimes. Right. So I need to just be the wife. Okay. So this is Maya speaking. Choose me. But no, we just want to give special shout outs to everybody out there that supports us. Damn. No, we want to give shout outs to everybody that supports us. We want to make sure that we give special shout outs to all the people who, continue to encourage us and, support our podcast. So again, check out the Out Crowd podcast.
Yeah, they are funny. So, okay, back to the personal journal. Because I do have a personal journal. And, it's on my vision board. And I have really, really, really fallen off with my release the pounds. I was doing really well for a while. I wasn't doing well releasing the pounds, but I was doing well getting my mind ready to release the pounds. You see, because it all starts in your mind. And at work, I was having a conversation with one of our clinical representatives and one of my doctors and we were having a conversation, and we talked about food and food addiction and diet and exercise and weight loss. And really what summed it up and what I've learned is, in order to be successful, there has to be something like that turns that little switch. And if it's nothing that just makes it click for you to do it, you have to change your attitude about food. And when we talk about, we have a everybody has a relationship with food, and it's a different type relationship. Some people look at food as a comfort. Some people look at food as just nourishment. Oh, I eat because I have to stay alive. Some people look at food as it's like a trial or tribulation because maybe they can't afford food or they can't afford the food that they want or whatever it is. We have to look at our relationship with food and change our attitude. I realize now that my biggest problem is excuses. Mm-hmm. I got 130 million. If you need to borrow some, I'm telling you, I got plenty. Mm-hmm. Plenty excuses, but I'm starting to recognize them for what they are. And before, I was really believing my excuses. Like, no, that's not an excuse. That's for real, But I do have a lot of excuses. So last weekend, I went to the supermarket. I did my shopping the way I go to the Reading terminal and I shop and get stuff there. And I go to the supermarket, I get stuff there. And I go to the produce market and I get stuff there. And I'm starting to have groceries. Like if people come over, I can actually offer them something. I know. But and now before I go to work, I'm making breakfast. So I make smarter, better choices at lunchtime. And, I don't buy the snack because I don't buy anything that I don't want to eat. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If I don't want to snack on it, I don't buy it. And I really had to get to the core of what my thought process is about food. So hopefully by the time we go to Essence, I'll be able to fit my clothes because I've been wearing scrubs for months now. And that's just my goal, to be able to fit my clothes. And that's my personal journal.
That was a good one. You are absolutely correct. We do have to recognize our relationship with food. And we talked about it earlier with John Singleton about, the African American community, and
Mhm.
our relationships with food are really about comfort. I feel like, it's more so about comfort and friendship and fellowship and what we have at the time, more so than it is about nourishment and
Right.
being sustaining, just eating to live and not living to eat.
Right.
So, and I'm also glad that you recognize that you have a lot of excuses when it comes down to diet and exercise.
A lot. I mean,
So many.
a lot. And I mean, they just come out of nowhere, and they just like, oh my gosh, yes, like wildflowers. I ain't lying. A lot. Well, what's your personal journal?
My personal journal for this week is about focusing on me. After the accident, like I said, it was so much going on that day and the week leading up to that day with my mom's surgery and just having a lot of stress built up for that and what's to come next after the surgery. And then that day, my mind was just so focused on other people. Making sure other shit was taken care of, making sure other people was taken care of. And after I got into the accident and I finally like came home, and I was like feeling some type of way kind of about going to New Orleans because I was like, I got so much stuff to do for other people.
Mm-hmm.
I was, when I went to New Orleans and then I came back, I was like, it was like a light bulb went off because I was still feeling like, damn, I should go back to New Jersey because I got to check on my mom. I got to do this, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. But I was like, you know what? Take a break because that's the reason why your ass got into the accident because you're
Mm-hmm.
not taking breaks and focusing on yourself. And here's the thing. I mean, the accident could have happened no matter what. But being that my mind was just not in a good place that whole day because I was focusing on other things for other people and I was so angry about just having to do something else. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh my God, it's something else on my plate. And I was just so like, my mind was just so focused on something else. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Doing something else that like it just, I wasn't thinking. We got into the
Right.
accident. It is what it is. And so when I came back, I was like I said, having that thought, oh, you need to go to New Jersey. But I was like, you know what? Sit still. Like, focus on yourself because one thing's for certain and two things for sure. If you ain't good, ain't nobody good. And all of the stuff that I do for other people and all of
Mm-hmm.
the other people that depend on me to do those things, I
Mm-hmm.
ain't going to be no good to them or me if I ain't focused on me. And
Right.
so that is my goal moving forward, more specifically for right now, it's just to focus on myself. I decided to stay home this weekend and just like chill, you know what I'm saying? Get my
Mm-hmm.
thoughts together, try to just get my life under control and back in some kind of order for me. And yeah, so that's what I want to do. And that's my personal journal for this week, just focusing on me.
I like it. I like it
Hope
so much. That's my personal journal for next week.
already got it planned out.
That's right.
Yeah, so let's hope, let's cross our fingers and keep us in prayer that that's what we do. Bibby is going to focus on losing the pounds. I'm going to focus on me, and we're going to focus on getting on out of here for this week. We will be here next week with an all new episode. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. Thanks again, Bibby, for holding it down, but I'm back. And we will be here same time next week. Remember that an all new episode drops each and every Monday. As Bibby said in the beginning of the show, you can find us anywhere where you can listen to a podcast. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor, YouTube. Check us out. Follow us on social media. We are on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at We Did That Shit. I'm at my13, MYMY13 on my personal Twitter.
And I'm at Bibbi Amina. That's BIBBIAMINA.
Yeah, so we'll see you next week.
Remember, get your blood pressure checked. Do that shit. I love you, Maya.
Love you too. And I'm about to go to CVS so I can check mine.
Bye.